When the richest man in the world stepped onto the stage at the Laugh Factory, 500 people held their breath. The internet had been making fun of him for weeks. Critics called it a publicity stunt. Late-night hosts made jokes about his jokes. But as Elon Musk gripped the microphone and looked out at the crowd, something magical was about to happen. In the front row sat a 12-year-old girl fighting cancer, wearing a red beanie and clutching a dream. In the audience was Jerry Seinfeld, arms crossed, waiting to see if this billionaire could actually be funny. What nobody knew was the real reason Elon had agreed to do this show. A secret that would only be revealed after a young man's dying. Wish changed everything. This is the story of how 5 minutes on stage taught the world's most famous entrepreneur that the greatest risk isn't launching rockets to Mars. It's showing people who you really are. The email came on a cold Tuesday morning in March 2024. Elon Musk sat in his corner office at SpaceX in Hawthorne, California, drinking his third cup of coffee and looking at rocket test data. Outside his window, engineers walked between the giant silver rockets that would someday take people to Mars. His phone buzzed. Another email. Elon almost deleted it without reading it. The subject line said, "Comedy show invitation. Please don't delete this." Elon stopped. He opened the email. "Mr. Musk," it began, "my name is Marcus Chen. I know this sounds crazy, but I want you to do stand-up comedy at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. I'm not joking." Elon blinked. He read it again. "I've been watching your tweets for months," Marcus continued. "You're funnier than half the comedians I work with. Your jokes about Dogecoin made my whole family laugh. The memes you post are better than most comedy shows on TV. I think you could be really good at this." Elon set down his coffee cup. This had to be a joke. "I know you're busy saving the world and going to space," Marcus wrote. "But comedy is important, too. It helps people forget their problems for a while. It brings people together. And honestly, the world needs more reasons to smile right now." Elon's assistant, Sarah Rodriguez, knocked on his door. "Mr. Musk, the Tesla board meeting starts in 10 minutes. "Wait," Elon said, still reading. "Give me a second." 5 minutes. "On stage," Marcus wrote. "That's all I'm asking. April 15th at the Laugh Factory, 8 o'clock at night. What do you say?" Elon stared at the email. This was the strangest request he'd ever received. And he'd received some very strange requests over the years. "Sir," Sarah said again, "the board meeting?" "Cancel it," Elon said. Sarah's eyes went wide. "You can't cancel a board meeting to watch me." Elon picked up his phone and typed back to Marcus. "When and where exactly?" The reply came back in 30 seconds. "April 15th, 8 p.m. The Laugh Factory on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood." "Are you serious about this?" Elon's fingers stopped over his phone. He thought about his childhood in South Africa. He remembered making his little brother Kimball laugh until he cried. He remembered the bullies at school who called him weird because he loved rockets and computers. He remembered the teachers who said he asked too many strange questions. But he also remembered the feeling of making people laugh, the joy on their faces, the way laughter could make even the worst day feel better. "Dead serious," he typed back. Within 2 hours, the news had leaked somehow. TMZ posted the headline, "Elon Musk thinks he's a comedian now." The story spread like wildfire across the internet. Twitter exploded with reactions. "This is either going to be amazing or a complete disaster. I'm here for both." Finally, someone rich enough to bomb on stage and not care about losing money. Plot twist. Elon is actually funny and starts a new career. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. made jokes about it that very night. Elon Musk is doing stand-up comedy, Steven said to his audience. Apparently, buying Twitter wasn't embarrassing enough. But while the internet was making memes, something else was happening 3,000 miles away in Burbank, California. 12-year-old Emma Martinez was lying in her hospital bed at Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. She had lost all her hair from chemotherapy treatments for leukemia. Her favorite red beanie covered her bald head. On her bedside table sat a small model of a SpaceX rocket that her father had given her before he died in a car accident 2 years ago. Emma was reading the news about Elon Musk on her tablet when her mother, Rosa, walked into the room carrying dinner from the hospital cafeteria. "Misha, you need to eat," Rosa said in Spanish, then switched to English. "The doctors say you're getting too thin." "Mom, look at this," Emma said, showing her the tablet. Elon Musk is going to do comedy. Real comedy. On a real stage. Rosa looked at the screen. She knew how much Emma loved Elon Musk. When Emma was first diagnosed with cancer, she had watched every video of Elon talking about going to Mars. She said it gave her hope that humans could do impossible things. "That's nice, baby," Rosa said. "Now, please eat your soup." "Mom, what? If we could get tickets?" Rosa's heart broke a little. She was a single mother working 2 jobs as a house cleaner. After paying for Emma's medical bills that insurance didn't cover, she had barely enough money for gas and food. Tickets to see the richest man in the world do comedy would cost more than she made in a month. "Those tickets will be very expensive, Mija," Rosa said gently. "But what if?" Emma asked. Her brown eyes were bright with hope. "What if this is our chance to meet him? What if I could tell him about my dream to go to Mars someday?" Rosa sat on the edge of the hospital bed and took her daughter's hand. Emma's fingers were so thin now, like little bird bones. "You never know," Rosa said. "Sometimes impossible things happen." That night, Elon couldn't sleep. He walked through his house in Austin, Texas, past the rooms where his own children slept. He thought about taking risks, about how every big decision in his life had started with people calling him crazy. Building Tesla when everyone said electric cars would never work. Starting SpaceX when NASA and Russia laughed at the idea of private space companies. Buying Twitter and turning it into X when everyone said he was destroying it. But this felt different. This felt personal. He picked up his phone and called his brother Kimball in Boulder, Colorado. It was 2 in the morning, but Kimball answered anyway. "Elon? What's wrong?" "Do you remember the jokes I used to tell when we were kids?" Elon asked. Kimball laughed sleepily. "You mean those terrible ones about robots and rockets?" "Yeah, I remember." "Were they really that bad?" "Honestly? Yeah, they were pretty bad. But I laughed because you were my big brother, and I loved you. And also because you were trying so hard to make me happy." Elon was quiet for a moment. "I think I'm about to make a huge mistake." "Good," Kimball said. "Your best ideas always start that way. Remember when you wanted to build electric cars? Everyone said that was a mistake too. This is different." "How?" "Because, this time, I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to make people laugh." "Maybe that's exactly what the world needs right now," Kimball said. After hanging up, Elon sat in his kitchen and made coffee. The house was quiet except for the sound of the coffee maker and his own breathing. He opened his laptop and started reading about comedy. How jokes worked. What made people laugh. Why some comedians succeeded and others failed. Then he opened Twitter and posted, "Anyone who thinks I can't be funny clearly hasn't seen my Cybertruck presentation." The post got 3 million likes in 6 hours, but nobody knew about the real reason Elon was doing this. Nobody knew about the phone call he would receive in 2 weeks. The call that would change everything. The call that would reveal why a man who could buy anything in the world would risk his reputation for 5 minutes on a comedy stage. For now, all anyone knew was that the richest man in the world was about to either embarrass himself in front of hundreds of people or surprise everyone. In her hospital bed in Burbank, Emma Martinez fell asleep clutching her SpaceX rocket model and dreaming about meeting her hero. In Austin, Elon Musk stared at his laptop screen and wondered if he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. The show was exactly 1 month away, and neither Emma nor Elon knew that their lives were about to change forever. 2 weeks before the show, Elon drove his black Tesla Model S to a small comedy club in downtown Austin called Cap City Comedy Club. It was 11 p.m. on a Thursday night. The place was almost empty, except for a few people who loved comedy, and 3 comedians practicing their jokes. Nobody recognized Elon at first. He wore a simple black hoodie and jeans. His hair was messier than usual. He sat in the back corner of the dark room, watching a young comedian named Jake Williams fail badly on stage. "So my girlfriend broke up with me," Jake said into the microphone. "She said I was too immature. I was so upset. I almost choked on my Lucky Charms cereal." Seat the 12 people in the audience sat in painful silence. Nobody laughed. "Tough crowd," Jake said nervously. "Anyone? No? Okay, moving on." After Jake's set ended, Elon walked over to him near the small bar. "That was brave," Elon said quietly. Jake looked up, squinting in the dim light. "Do I know you from somewhere?" "I'm Elon." Jake's eyes went wide like dinner plates. "Holy crap, you're Elon Musk. What are you doing in this tiny club?" "Learning," Elon said. "Can you teach me how to do comedy?" Jake stared at him. "You want me to teach you? Dude, I just bombed harder than your rocket that one time." "That's exactly why I want you to teach me," Elon said. "You know what it feels like to fail in front of people." That's how the richest man in the world ended up taking comedy lessons from a 24-year-old who lived in his beat-up Honda Civic and ate ramen noodles for dinner every night. For the next week, Jake met Elon every night at 11 p.m. at Cap City. The club owner, Maria Santos, let them use the stage for free because she couldn't believe Elon Musk was in her little club. Jake taught Elon about timing, when to pause, when to speed up, when to let the audience think. He showed him how to handle hecklers who yell mean things from the crowd. He explained that comedy wasn't about being the smartest person in the room. It was about being the most honest. "Your biggest problem," Jake said after watching Elon practice for 3 nights, "is that you're trying to be perfect. But comedy is about failing beautifully. It's about making mistakes and turning them into something funny." "I don't like making mistakes," Elon said. "I know. That's your problem." Meanwhile, 3 states away in Los Angeles, Marcus Chen was dealing with his own problems. The owner of the Laugh Factory, Jamie Masada, was getting scared about the show. "This is going to be a disaster," Jamie said, walking back and forth in his small office above the comedy club. "What if Elon bombs? What if people boo him off the stage? What if he gets angry and buys my club just to shut it down?" "What if he doesn't bomb?" Marcus asked. "What if the richest man in the world is actually funny?" Marcus needed this show to work. His small production company was 3 months behind on rent. His girlfriend had left him for a guy who had a steady job. His parents in San Francisco kept asking when he was going to get a real job instead of chasing dreams in Hollywood. But Marcus believed in something nobody else could see. He had been studying Elon's tweets for months, looking for patterns in his humor. There was something special there, a mix of being aware of himself and saying absurd things that could work on a real stage. Back in Austin, Elon's comedy training continued every night. Jake taught him about the rule of three, how jokes work best when they come in groups of three. He showed him how to pause for effect, how to read an audience's mood, and how to recover when a joke doesn't work. "Tell me about when you were a kid," Jake said during one late-night session. Elon's face got dark and serious. "Why do you want to know that?" "Because the best comedy comes from pain. What hurt you the most?" Elon was quiet for a long time. He sat on the edge of the small stage, his legs dangling over the side. "I was different," he finally said. "I saw things other kids didn't see. I dreamed about going to space when other kids were playing with toy cars. I read books about rockets when they were watching cartoons. The other kids at school, they didn't understand me. And now? Now I'm actually taking people to space, and they still don't understand me." Jake smiled. "There's your comedy material right there." As word spread about Elon's comedy debut, ticket demand went crazy. The Laugh Factory's website crashed from too many people trying to buy tickets at the same time. People who buy tickets just to sell them for more money were selling $30 tickets for $500 each on other websites. In Burbank, Emma Martinez was getting sicker. Her latest blood test showed her white blood cell count was dropping. The cells that fight infection in her body were getting weaker. Her parents couldn't afford the expensive tickets that scalpers were selling, and the regular tickets had sold out in 37 seconds. "It's okay, Mija," Rosa said, holding her daughter as she cried in the hospital bed. "Maybe we can watch it online later." But Emma had an idea. She was weak, but her mind was still sharp. She opened her laptop computer and started typing slowly with her thin fingers. "Dear Mr. Musk," she wrote, "my name is Emma Martinez. I am 12 years old and I have leukemia cancer. I know you probably get a million emails every day, but I wanted to tell you something important. When I was first told I had cancer, my dad showed me a video of you talking about going to Mars. You said that humans are meant to explore new places, to push past boundaries, to never give up on their dreams. That's what I've been doing with my cancer, never giving up. I would love to see your comedy show, but I understand if you can't help me. I just wanted you to know that you inspire me every day to keep fighting for my dreams." She read the email 3 times, checking for spelling mistakes. Then she clicked send and said a prayer. 2 days later, Elon was in his office at Tesla's Gigafactory in Austin. The huge building was full of robots building electric cars. Sarah walked into his office carrying a printed piece of paper. "I think you should read this," she said quietly. Elon took the paper. It was Emma's email. He read it once, then twice, then a third time. He didn't speak for several minutes. Finally, he looked up at Sarah. "Get me her phone number." "Sir?" "The girl who wrote this. Emma Martinez. I want to call her right now." "How do you want me to find her number?" "However you need to. Just find it." That evening, Emma was lying in her hospital bed watching a movie on her tablet when her mother's phone rang. Rosa looked at the number and didn't recognize it. "Hello?" Rosa answered carefully. "Is this Emma Martinez's mother?" a voice asked. The voice sounded familiar, but Rosa couldn't place it. "Yes, who is this?" "This is Elon Musk. I got Emma's email. Is she available to talk?" Rosa nearly dropped the phone. Her hand started shaking. "Emma!" she shouted. "Come here right now!" Emma pulled out her earbuds and looked confused. "What's wrong, Mom?" "Someone wants to talk to you," Rosa said, handing her the phone. Emma took the phone with shaking hands. Hello? Hi, Emma. This is Elon. I got your letter. I have a question for you. Emma's eyes filled with tears. This is really you? It's really me. Do you want to come to my comedy show? Not just as a regular person in the audience. I want you to be my special guest. Front row seat. And I want you to meet me backstage before the show starts. Emma started crying so hard she could barely speak. Really? You really mean it? I really mean it. And Emma, thank you for your letter. It reminded me why I'm doing this show in the first place. After he hung up, Elon sat in his office for a long time. He thought about Emma, about Jake, about all the people who had called him crazy over the years for dreaming big dreams. He picked up his laptop and started writing his comedy routine. But this time, he wasn't trying to be perfect. He was trying to be honest. The show was in 1 week, and Elon Musk was about to learn that sometimes the biggest risk is showing people who you really are. 5 days before the show, Elon woke up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat. He had been dreaming about the Cybertruck reveal again. That terrible moment when he said the windows were bulletproof, then watched them shatter on stage in front of thousands of people. The internet had made fun of him for months after that, but this felt worse. This felt personal. He walked to his kitchen and made coffee. His hands were shaking a little. Outside his Austin home, security cameras watched his every move. Even in his own house, he couldn't escape being watched by someone. His phone buzzed with a text from Jake. How's the comedy material coming along? Elon stared at the blank document on his laptop computer. He had written 3 different comedy routines and deleted them all. Nothing felt right. Nothing felt funny. It's not coming, he texted back. An hour later, Jake arrived at Elon's house with a box of donuts and coffee that cost more than most people spend on lunch. Show me what you've got, Jake said, sitting down in Elon's big living room. I don't. Have anything good? That's impossible. You've been tweeting jokes for years. What's different now? Elon ran his hands through his messy hair. On Twitter, I can delete a bad joke. I can edit it. I can think about it for hours before I post it. On stage, it's just me. Raw. No editing. No do-overs. Jake nodded. That's exactly the point. I don't know if I can do this. Want to know a secret? Jake said. Every comedian feels that way before they go on stage, even the ones who have been doing it for 20 years. The fear never goes away. You just learn to use it to make you better. That afternoon, Elon drove to the SpaceX building in Hawthorne, California. He needed to see the rockets. He needed to remember why he started taking big risks in the first place. He found his chief engineer, Tom Mueller, working on the Raptor engine for the next Mars mission. Tom was covered in grease and looked tired. How's the comedy preparation going? Tom asked, not looking up from his work. Terrible. Good. That means you care about it. Elon watched Tom work for a while. The engine was beautiful and complex. Every piece had to work perfectly, or people could die. Do you think I'm making a mistake? Elon asked. Tom finally looked up from the engine. Remember when you wanted to build our own rockets instead of buying them from Russia? Yeah. Everyone said you were crazy, including me. And now we're the only private company that has ever taken astronauts to the International Space Station. Tom went back to his work. Sometimes crazy is just another word for being first. That evening, Marcus Chen called from Los Angeles. We have a problem, Marcus said. His voice sounded stressed. What kind of problem? The LA Times wants to interview you before the show. They want to ask about why you're doing comedy." "No interviews," Elon said quickly. "Elon, this could be huge for your image. It could show people a different side of you." "I said no interviews." "What about after the show?" Elon was quiet for a moment. "Ask me after I know if I'm actually funny or not." Meanwhile, in Burbank, Emma Martinez was having her own struggles. Her latest chemotherapy treatment had left her weak and sick to her stomach. She could barely keep food down. Every time she tried to eat, she threw up. "Maybe we should skip the show," Rosa said, sitting beside Emma's hospital bed. "You need to rest and get stronger." "No, Mom, I'm going." Emma's voice was weak but determined. "I've been waiting for this my whole life." "You're 12 years old. You haven't had a whole life yet." Emma smiled weakly. "That's exactly why I can't miss it." Dr. Patricia Kim, Emma's cancer doctor at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, had agreed to let Emma go to the show. But there were strict rules. Emma had to wear a mask to protect her from germs, she had to avoid crowds, and she had to have a nurse with her at all times. "Her immune system is very weak right now," Dr. Kim explained to Rosa. "Any infection could be very dangerous for her." "She knows the risks," Rosa said, "but she also knows what hope feels like. I won't take that away from her." Back in Austin, Elon was having dinner with his brother Kimball at a small restaurant downtown. They chose a corner table where they could talk privately, without people listening. "I keep thinking about Dad," Elon said, pushing food around his plate without eating much. Kimball's face got serious. Their father, Elon Musk, had been mean and cold to them when they were growing up in South Africa. He always criticized them and never seemed proud of anything they did. "What about him?" "He used to say I was too sensitive, that I took everything too seriously, that I needed to grow thicker skin and not care what people thought." "And? What if he was right? What if I can't handle people laughing at me instead of with me?" Kimball leaned forward across the table. "You know what I remember about you when we were kids? You used to draw pictures of rockets and show them to anyone who would look. You didn't care if they thought you were weird. You just wanted to share your dreams with people. That was different." "No, it wasn't. You're still the same person. You're just scared of being vulnerable and letting people see the real you." That night, Elon called his mother, Mae Musk, in New York City. "I'm proud of you," she said, before he could even explain why he was calling. "For what?" "I haven't done the show yet. I might embarrass myself." "For trying something that scares you. For being brave enough to be silly and human." "What if I embarrass myself in front of everyone?" "Then you'll be human, and that's not a bad thing to be." After the phone call, Elon sat in his home office. The walls were covered with photos of rocket launches and Tesla factories, pictures of all his big successes. He opened his laptop and started typing. "Hi, I'm Elon Musk," he wrote. "You might know me as the guy who named his kid like a Wi-Fi password." He deleted it. Too mean to his own child. "Hi, I'm Elon Musk. I'm here because my therapist said I need to face my fears. So far, I've conquered space, electric cars, and social media. Tonight, I'm trying to conquer 5 minutes without saying something that gets me sued." He deleted that too. Too complicated. Finally, he wrote, "Hi, I'm Elon Musk. I'm nervous as hell, and I have no idea what I'm doing up here. But I figured if I can survive Twitter, I can survive anything." He stared at the words for a long time. Then he saved the document on his computer. For the first time in weeks, he smiled a real smile. The show was in 2 days. And for the first time, Elon felt like maybe, just maybe, he might not completely embarrass himself. But he still didn't know about the phone call that was coming. The call that would change everything. The morning of April 15, 2024, Los Angeles woke up to complete chaos. The Laugh Factory on Sunset Boulevard was surrounded by news trucks, photographers, and hundreds of fans hoping to see Elon Musk. People had been camping outside since 5 a.m. with folding chairs and coffee. TMZ had set up a live video stream. CNN had sent their best entertainment reporter. Even news stations from other countries were covering what they called the most expensive comedy debut in history. Inside the small club, Marcus Chen was having a panic attack. The sound system is making weird noises, Janet Walsh, the club's manager, told him. And we have 3 more news crews asking for press passes to film inside. No cameras inside, Marcus said, wiping sweat from his forehead with a napkin. Just the people who bought tickets get to see this. That includes Jerry Seinfeld. Marcus stopped walking around in circles. What did you just say? Jerry Seinfeld bought a ticket. He's coming to watch the show tonight. Marcus sat down hard in a chair. His legs felt weak. Oh no. Jerry Seinfeld is going to watch my career end in real time. At 2 p.m., Elon landed at LAX airport in his private jet. He had flown in from Austin with just a small suitcase and a notebook full of jokes he'd written and rewritten 100 times. Sarah Rodriguez met him at the plane. The media is everywhere, she warned him. We have a back entrance to the club, but they'll probably spot your car anyway. It's fine, Elon said, but his hands were shaking as he got into the black Tesla Model S waiting for them. As they drove through Los Angeles traffic, Elon's phone buzzed with messages from people all over the world. His ex-wife Justine had texted, "Break a leg. Literally or figuratively, your choice." His children had sent encouraging emoji faces. His mother had sent a photo of herself wearing a Team Elon t-shirt she'd bought online. But the message that made him smile was from Jake. Remember, you're not trying to be the best comedian in the world. You're trying to be the best version of yourself. At 4 p.m., Emma Martinez and her mother Rosa arrived at Children's Hospital Los Angeles for a final checkup before the show. Dr. Kim looked at Emma's latest blood test results on her computer screen. Her white blood cell numbers are very low, Dr. Kim told Rosa privately in the hallway. I'm worried about her being in a crowded room with so many people. She won't miss this, Rosa said firmly. This is what's keeping her fighting every day, Doctor. Kim nodded slowly. Then we'll make sure she's as safe as possible. Nurse Jennifer will go with you to the show, and we'll have a medical team waiting nearby in case anything happens. Emma was so excited during the car ride to Hollywood that she could barely sit still. She wore her favorite red beanie and a t-shirt that said, Mars or Bust, a gift from her father before he died in the car accident 2 years earlier. Do you think he'll really remember me from our phone call? Emma asked. Mija, you're impossible to forget, Rosa said, squeezing her daughter's thin hand. At 6 p.m., Elon arrived at the Laugh Factory through the back entrance. The club was smaller than he'd expected, just 300 seats arranged in a horseshoe shape, around a simple stage with a red brick wall behind it. Marcus met him at the back door. His shirt was soaked with nervous sweat. How are you feeling? Marcus asked. Like I'm about to throw up, Elon admitted honestly. That's completely normal. Do you want to see the stage before people arrive? They walked through the empty club. The stage looked huge and terrifying under the bright white lights. Elon could imagine 500 people staring at him, waiting for him to be funny. 500 people, Marcus said. We sold an extra 200 standing room tickets because demand was so crazy. Great. More people to watch me fail or succeed. You never know. Are you ready to test the microphone? Elon stepped onto the stage and picked up the black microphone. The club was empty except for a few workers setting up chairs, but his voice still shook a little. Testing, testing. Is this thing working? I'm Elon Musk, and I'm about to prove that money can't buy comedic timing. One of the workers stopped what he was doing and laughed. It was a real laugh, not a polite fake one. That's good, Marcus said from the audience. Use that line tonight. At 7 p.m., the doors opened and people started flooding into the small club. The crowd was unlike anything the Laugh Factory had ever seen. There were tech company executives in expensive suits sitting next to college students wearing SpaceX t-shirts. There were professional comedians with notebooks, writing down everything they saw. There were families who had never been to a comedy show before in their lives. Jerry Seinfeld arrived at 7:30, wearing jeans and a casual button-down shirt. He found a seat in the middle section and ordered black coffee. "This should be very interesting," he said to the person sitting next to him. At 7:45, Emma Martinez arrived with her mother and nurse Jennifer. A security guard escorted them to their front row seats, right in the center, where Emma could see everything. Emma's eyes went wide as she looked around the packed club. "It's so much smaller than I thought it would be," she whispered. "That's what makes it special," Rosa said. "Everyone here is going to see something they've never seen before." Backstage, Elon was pacing back and forth in a tiny dressing room that smelled like old beer and cigarettes. His comedy notebook was open on a small table, but he wasn't reading it anymore. Instead, he was thinking about Emma's email, about Jake's lessons, and about every time in his life when someone had called him crazy for trying something new. There was a soft knock on the dressing room door. "Mr. Musk, you have a visitor." Elon opened the door and found Emma Martinez standing there. She was smaller than he'd expected, wearing her bright red beanie and holding her mother's hand tightly. "Hi," Emma said shyly. "I'm Emma from the email." Elon knelt down so he was at her eye level. "Emma, you made it here. How are you feeling tonight?" "Nervous," she admitted. "Are you nervous too?" "Terrified," Elon said honestly. Emma giggled, and the sound made Elon smile. "Good. My dad used to say that being nervous means you care about something important." "Your dad sounds like he was a very smart man." "He was the smartest. He died when I was 10, but he always told me that the best adventures start with being scared." Elon felt his throat get tight with emotion. He was absolutely right about that. "Will you tell a joke about Mars tonight?" Emma asked hopefully. "I want to go there someday, when I'm healthy again." "I'll tell several jokes about Mars," Elon promised. "And Emma, you're going to make it there. I believe in you completely." After Emma and her mother returned to their seats, Elon stood alone in the small dressing room. He looked at himself in the cracked mirror. The same face that had been on magazine covers and news shows around the world. But tonight, it looked different. Tonight, it looked scared and human. There was another knock on the door. 5 minutes. "Mr. Musk?" Elon closed his notebook. He didn't need to read his jokes anymore. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. At exactly 8 p.m., Marcus Chen walked onto the stage to introduce the evening's performer. The entire crowd fell completely silent. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus said into the microphone, "please welcome to the Laugh Factory stage for his very first comedy performance, Elon Musk." The applause was like thunder. Elon walked onto the stage, the hot lights shining on his face, looking out at 500 people who had come to see if the richest man in the E-Tuasastu world could make them laugh. He took the microphone and paused, looking directly at Emma in the front row. She gave him a big thumbs up. "Hi," Elon said into the microphone. "I'm Elon Musk, and I'm about to either make history or become a meme. Based on my track record, probably both. The crowd laughed loudly. It was a good start. But what happened next would surprise everyone in the room, including Elon himself. Elon stood at the microphone, looking out at the sea of faces. In the front row, Emma Martinez sat with her hands clasped together, her bright eyes full of hope. Jerry Seinfeld was 3 rows back with his arms crossed, watching carefully. The entire room held its breath. "So," Elon began, his voice steadier than he felt inside. "I know what you're all thinking. Why is the guy who thinks he can colonize Mars trying to conquer a comedy club? Well, honestly, Mars seems easier. At least on Mars, if nobody laughs at my jokes, there's no oxygen anyway, so I won't hear the awkward silence." The crowd chuckled softly. Elon felt a small wave of confidence wash over him. "I've been preparing for this show for weeks," he continued. "I hired a comedy coach, a 24-year-old who lives in his car and eats ramen noodles for dinner. So basically, I'm taking advice from my past self, but with worse credit." A bigger laugh this time. In the audience, Jake Williams beamed with pride from his seat near the back. "People ask me all the time why I bought Twitter for $44 billion. I tell them it's because I wanted to see if I could spend that much money and still not be the most embarrassing person on the internet." Spoiler alert, mission accomplished. The crowd was warming up quickly. Elon started to relax his shoulders. "You know, I have 7 children, 7 kids, and people think I'm trying to populate Mars with my own family. I'm not trying to populate Mars. I'm trying to escape my child support payments. At this rate, I'll need to invent time travel just to afford college tuition for all of them." Emma giggled loudly from the front row, and Elon smiled directly at her. "But seriously, having kids is exactly like running a startup company. Lots of crying, nobody gets enough sleep, and you're constantly running out of money. The only difference is, with kids, you can't just sell them to Google when things get tough. I checked with my lawyers. Apparently, it's frowned upon." The audience was fully engaged now. Even Jerry Seinfeld was smiling and nodding his head. "I named one of my sons XAA Twadfi. People say that's a crazy name. I say it's practical. Have you tried getting a Gmail address lately? At least I know his username will always be available." The crowd erupted in loud laughter. "Speaking of names, people always ask me about Tesla, my car company. They think it's named after Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor. It's not. It's actually named after my college girlfriend, Tess. She was electric, she was innovative, and she left me for someone who could actually afford to take her to dinner." Another big wave of laughter rolled through the room. "I started SpaceX because I wanted to make space travel affordable for regular people. Mission accomplished. It now only costs $25 million per seat. That's practically budget airline prices. Plus, we don't charge extra for rocket fuel, and our overhead storage compartments are technically infinite." Elon was hitting his stride now. The fear was still there in his stomach, but it was being overwhelmed by something else. Pure joy. "People think I'm obsessed with efficiency and timing. They're absolutely right. I time everything in my life. I know exactly how long it takes me to brush my teeth, to drink a cup of coffee, to send a tweet that crashes the stock market. That last one takes exactly 3.7 seconds, by the way." The crowd was eating up every word. "I'm working on a brain chip called Neuralink. It's going to connect human brains directly to computers. Finally, I'll be able to download my thoughts straight to Twitter, instead of typing them with my thumbs. This will save approximately 15 seconds per tweet, which I can then use to send even more tweets. It's called efficiency, people." Emma was laughing so hard that tears were running down her cheeks. Rosa put her arm around her daughter, both of them caught up in the magical moment. You know what's funny about being the richest person in the world? Everyone automatically assumes I must be happy all the time. I am happy, but mostly because I can afford really good therapy. My therapist drives a Tesla now. I'm not saying I pay her too much, but she recently bought a house in Malibu and started a podcast called Crazy Rich Patients. The audience was completely his now. Everyone was laughing and having fun. People ask me about my biggest fear in life. It's not failure. I've failed plenty of times. It's not going bankrupt. Been there, done that. Bought the t-shirt. My biggest fear is that I'll die before I see humans walking around on Mars. Not because I won't achieve my dream, but because I won't be there to see their faces when they realize I forgot to pack the Wi-Fi password. A huge laugh filled the small club. But you know what I've learned about taking big risks? It's not about being fearless. Nobody is actually fearless. It's about being scared out of your mind and doing it anyway. Like tonight. I am absolutely terrified right now. But I'm also having the best time of my life. He looked directly at Emma, again, and she was glowing with happiness. I got a letter from a very special young lady in the audience tonight. She's 12 years old. She's fighting cancer like a warrior. And she told me in her letter that she's never giving up on her dreams. She wants to go to Mars someday. And you know what? I believe with all my heart that she will make it there. Because the bravest people I know aren't the ones who aren't afraid. They're the ones who are scared and keep going anyway. The crowd was quiet now, hanging on every single word. That's what comedy really is when you think about it. It's about being vulnerable in front of complete strangers and hoping they'll laugh with you instead of at you. It's about taking the things that hurt us the most and finding a way to make them funny. It's about human connection. He paused, looking around the packed room. I've spent my entire career trying to solve humanity's biggest problems: climate change, space exploration, traffic jams, slow internet connections. But tonight, I just want to solve one small problem. I want to make you laugh and feel good. And if I can do that, maybe I can remember what it feels like to be human instead of just a headline in the news. The room was completely silent now. You could hear people breathing. So here's my final joke for you tonight. A man walks into a comedy club and says, "I'm the richest person in the world, but I'm here to learn something money can't buy." The bartender says, "What's that?" But the man says, "How to fail gracefully in front of people who actually care about me." The bartender says, "That'll cost you one ego, please." The man says, "Keep the change." The pause stretched for what felt like forever. The entire room was holding its breath. Then Emma Martinez started clapping. She stood up in her front row seat, her red beanie bright under the hot stage lights, and applauded as hard as her thin arms could manage. One by one, the entire audience stood up. Jerry Seinfeld was clapping enthusiastically. Jake Williams was wiping tears from his eyes. Even the waitstaff had stopped serving drinks to applaud. The standing ovation lasted for 3 full minutes. People were cheering, whistling, and some were crying. Elon stood at the microphone, completely overwhelmed by the response. This wasn't just applause for his jokes. It was applause for his courage, for his willingness to be vulnerable, for showing them that even the most successful people in the world are still human beings with feelings. "Thank you," he said, into the microphone, his voice shaky with emotion. "Thank you for letting me be here tonight. Thank you for laughing with me. And thank you for reminding me that the best things in life aren't the ones you can buy. They're the ones you have to earn." He set the microphone back in its stand and walked off the stage to thunderous applause that seemed like it would never end. Backstage, Marcus Chen was crying tears of joy and relief. "That was incredible," he said, hugging Elon. "That was the best comedy debut I've ever seen in my entire life." But Elon wasn't listening to Marcus. He was looking around for Emma. He found her waiting by the backstage door with her mother and nurse. She ran to him as fast as her weak legs could carry her. "You were amazing," she said, hugging him tight. "You didn't just make everyone laugh. You made them feel something real." "You inspired me," Elon said, hugging her back. "You reminded me exactly why I do everything I do. Will you really take me to Mars someday when I'm all better?" Elon pulled back and looked at her with complete seriousness. "Emma, I promise you this. By the time you're healthy and strong enough to go, I'll have a rocket ready and waiting for you." Emma's eyes filled with happy tears. "Do you really promise?" "I promise with all my heart." As the crowd slowly filed out of the Laugh Factory, people were already posting videos on social media. Elon comedy was trending worldwide within an hour. But the real story wasn't about the jokes. It was about the heart and soul he had shown. Jerry Seinfeld found Elon's. Before he left the club, "That was genuinely brave," Jerry said simply. "You didn't try to be a professional comedian. You just tried to be yourself. That's much harder than most people realize." "Coming from you, that means everything to me," Elon replied. "Keep working." "On it," Jerry said with a smile. "You've definitely got something special." Outside the club, the media was waiting with cameras and microphones. But for once, Elon didn't mind the attention. "How did it feel up there?" a reporter shouted. "Like coming home," Elon said with a genuine smile. As his car pulled away from the Laugh Factory, Elon thought about the entire evening. He had risked everything: his reputation, his dignity, his carefully built image as a serious business leader. And in return, he had gained something more valuable than money or fame. He had gained the knowledge that he could still surprise himself. But there was still one more surprise waiting for him: the phone call that would reveal the real reason he had agreed to do the comedy show in the first place. 3 days after the show, Elon sat in his office at SpaceX, watching the video of his comedy performance for the 10th time. The internet had exploded with praise. Late-night talk show hosts were calling him a natural comedian. Comedy Central had reached out about doing a special show. Netflix wanted to discuss a deal for a comedy movie. But Elon's mind wasn't on any of the offers. It was on a phone call he had received 3 months earlier, the call that had started this whole journey. His assistant Sarah knocked on his door. "Mr. Musk, there's someone here to see you. She says it's very personal." Elon looked up from his computer screen. "I'm not taking any meetings today." She says her name is Dr. Linda Chen. She's Marcus Chen's sister. Elon's blood went cold. His hands stopped moving on his keyboard. "Send her in right away." Dr. Linda Chen was nothing like her brother Marcus. Where Marcus was energetic and scattered, she was calm and serious. She wore a simple black dress and carried a leather briefcase. Her eyes were red from crying recently. "Mr. Musk," she said, sitting across from his desk. "Thank you for seeing me without an appointment." "How is Marcus?" Elon asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Dr. Linda took a deep breath. "Marcus died yesterday morning. His heart stopped during surgery." Elon felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. "What surgery? What happened?" He had a rare heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. He'd been hiding it for years because he was afraid it would hurt his career in Hollywood. The doctors said the stress from organizing your comedy show probably made it worse. Elon put his head in his hands. "This is all my fault." "No," Dr. Linda said firmly. "It's not your fault at all. Marcus knew he was sick. He chose not to get treatment because he was chasing his dreams. That comedy show was the most important thing he ever did." She opened her briefcase and pulled out a letter with Elon's name written on it in Marcus's handwriting. "He wrote this 3 months ago, right after he sent you that first email. He made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to him." Elon took the letter with shaking hands. The envelope was already torn open. "Did you read it?" "Yes. That's why I'm here." Elon unfolded the letter. Marcus's handwriting was messy but readable. "Dear Elon, if you're reading this, it means I'm probably dead. I'm sorry for tricking you, but I had a good reason. 3 months ago, I found out I have a heart condition that could kill me at any time. The doctors said I needed expensive surgery, but I don't have health insurance. I've been working as a freelance comedy producer for years, and I can't afford the operation. I didn't ask you to do comedy because I thought you'd be funny. I asked because I knew if Elon Musk did a comedy show, it would be the biggest entertainment story of the year. I knew I could sell the video rights for enough money to pay for my surgery. But then something changed. I started watching your videos and reading your interviews. I realized you're not just a rich guy. You're someone who actually cares about people. You're trying to save the planet with electric cars. You're trying to make humans a multi-planet species. You're using your money to solve real problems. I started feeling guilty about tricking you. But then I got sicker, and I was too scared to tell you the truth. I was afraid you'd cancel the show. If you're reading this letter, it means my plan worked, but I didn't survive to see it. I hope the show was good. I hope you had fun. I hope people laughed. But most importantly, I hope you use the money I was going to make in a better way. There's a little girl named Emma Martinez in Burbank. She has leukemia. Her family can't afford her treatments. She wrote you an email about wanting to see your comedy show. Take the money from the video rights and use it to help her. Help other kids like her. You have the power to save lives that people like me can't save. Thank you for making my last dream come true. Your friend, Marcus Chen P.S. You really were funny. I wasn't lying about that part." Elon read the letter twice, then set it down on his desk. He was quiet for a long time. "The video rights," he finally said. "How much money are we talking about?" "Netflix offered $12 million for the exclusive rights," Dr. Linda said. "Marcus had already negotiated the deal. All you have to do is sign the contract." Elon picked up his phone and called Sarah. "Get me Dr. Patricia Kim at Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. Tell her it's about Emma Martinez." Dr. Linda watched as Elon made the call. "Dr. Kim, this is Elon Musk. I want to pay for all of Emma Martinez's cancer treatments. Everything. I want her to get the best care possible. And I want her family to never worry about money again." Elon listened for a moment. "I don't care how much it costs. Just make her healthy. And Dr. Kim, I want you to set up a fund for other children with cancer whose families can't afford treatment. I'm going to put $12 million into it." After he hung up, Dr. Linda was crying. "Marcus would be so happy," she said. "He really cared about that little girl. How did he even know about Emma?" "He didn't at first. But after your phone call with her became public, he started researching her story. He found out about her father's death, about her mother working 2 jobs to pay medical bills. Marcus said it reminded him of our childhood. We grew up poor too. Our parents couldn't afford health care. Elon nodded. What about Marcus's funeral? Tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Los Angeles. It's going to be small. Just family and a few friends from the comedy world. I want to speak at the service. Are you sure? You barely knew him. He gave me something I didn't even know I needed, Elon said. He reminded me why I do what I do. It's not about the money or the fame. It's about helping people. The next day, Elon stood at the podium in a small funeral home in North Hollywood. About 50 people sat in folding chairs. Most of them were comedians and entertainment workers who had known Marcus. I only knew Marcus Chen for a few weeks, Elon began. But in that short time, he taught me something important. He showed me that the best ideas often come from the most desperate places. He looked out at the audience, which included Dr. Linda, Jake Williams, and several comedians from the Laugh Factory. Marcus was dying, and he used his last months to create something beautiful. He brought people together. He made them laugh. He helped a sick little girl meet her hero. And he reminded a rich guy that money is only useful if you use it to help others. Elon paused, thinking about Marcus's letter. Marcus lied to me about why he wanted me to do comedy, but it was the kind of lie that makes the world better. He tricked me into doing something that changed my life. He showed me that taking risks isn't just about business, it's about being human. After the funeral, Elon drove to Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. He found Emma in her room, looking much healthier than she had at the comedy show. Her red beanie was on the bedside table, and she had a little bit of hair growing back. "Elon," she said, sitting up in bed, "did you really pay for all my treatments?" "I did, and I'm going to pay for other kids' treatments too." Emma started crying happy tears. "Why would you do that for me?" "Because a very good man reminded me that helping people is the most important thing anyone can do with their life." "What man?" "His name was Marcus Chen. He was the person who convinced me to do the comedy show. He died yesterday, but before he died, he made sure you would get better." Emma was quiet for a moment. "Will you tell me about him?" Elon sat in the chair next to her bed. "Marcus was a dreamer, just like you. He believed that impossible things could happen if you worked hard enough and cared enough about other people. Like going to Mars? Exactly like going to Mars." 2 weeks later, Elon was back on stage at the Laugh Factory. But this time, it wasn't for a comedy show. It was for a fundraiser called Jokes for Hope, raising money for children's cancer research. Emma was in the front row again, this time without her red beanie. Her hair was growing back, and she looked stronger every day. "Tonight is special," Elon said into the microphone. "We're here because a man named Marcus Chen believed that laughter could change the world." He was right. The audience was full of families with sick children, doctors, and people who just wanted to help. Marcus taught me that being rich isn't about having money. It's about having the power to make other people's lives better. Tonight, every dollar we raise will go to kids like Emma Martinez, who are fighting battles that would make grown adults give up. He looked at Emma, who was smiling brightly. "Emma is going to be okay. Her cancer is going away. And someday, when she's healthy and strong, I'm going to keep my promise and take her to Mars. But tonight, we're fighting for kids who are just starting their battles." The fundraiser raised $8 million that night. More importantly, it started a movement. Other celebrities began doing comedy shows for charity. The idea spread across the country. 6 months later, Emma Martinez was declared cancer-free. Her hair had grown back thick and curly. She started 7th grade at a new school and joined the astronomy club. Elon kept in touch with her family. Every few weeks, he would call or visit. Emma always asked about the Mars rockets and when they would be ready for passengers. Soon, Elon would tell her. Very soon. 1 year after the comedy show, Elon received a package in the mail. It was from Dr. Linda Chen. Inside was a small trophy that said, "Best Comedy Debut," and a note. This was going to be Marcus's surprise for you. He had it made before the show. He never doubted that you would be great. Thank you for making his dream come true and for helping so many children. Marcus would be proud. Elon put the trophy on his desk at SpaceX, right next to a photo of Emma at the comedy show wearing her red beanie. Every time he looked at it, he remembered Marcus's lesson. The best way to change the world isn't always through rockets or electric cars. Sometimes it's through making people laugh, bringing them together, and reminding them to care about each other. The comedy show had started as a lie, but it became the most honest thing Elon had ever done. It showed him that being vulnerable, taking risks, and caring about others wasn't a weakness. It was the greatest strength any human could have. And somewhere in the universe, Marcus Chen was probably laughing at the beautiful joke he had played on everyone, including himself. We'd love to know where you're listening from today. Drop a comment and tell us your city or country. If this story touched your heart or made you think differently about taking risks and helping others, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for many more inspiring and thought-provoking stories like this one. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. In a world that can sometimes feel divided, stories like these remind us of our shared humanity and the importance of spreading kindness and awareness. You never know whose day you might brighten or whose perspective you might change. Thank you for listening, and remember, sometimes the greatest adventures begin with being brave enough to be vulnerable.